Hello everyone, welcome to RPA Learners, and in this video we're going to see the automation of the Make My Trip website, where we are selecting the return date, departure, and the traveling from and to. So those are the inputs that we are getting from the Excel, and this is the website that we are going to automate today, where we have from, to, departure, and return. And where are we getting these values from? We are storing it in Excel, and we are getting the values from the Excel. So first let me show you the input that we are taking from the Excel, which have all the data, which is departure, return, from, and to. Here I have two different two different rows of data, where one is going from Mumbai to Bangkok and the other one is from Bangkok to Mumbai, and these are the different dates that are available here. He's from going from 31, and then return date is 5th August. He's also from 31, and the return date is 7th August. So these are the two different uh, data that we are going to take. Let me close this Excel. And before going to the implementation of this task, let's see the manual process of this particular scenario, and how we are going to select this, and then we will implement it in the UiPath Studio. So let me close this one and open this Make My Trip. And after opening this, we need to open this, and then what we need to do, we need to select the from. Let's say I'm selecting it from Mumbai, and then to Bangkok. And here if you able to see this, there is an automatic pop-up that is appearing to select the departure and the return date, right? But when we are actually automating it, we don't need this, because if it we need to click here, and then we need to select the date, and we need to select the return date as well. Or we can do this, or there is another way. Let's say sometime if it doesn't open here the pop-up, then where we will select. This will actually reduce 2 or 3 steps that we are doing, because when we selecting the round trip, let's say if you are only going for a single trip, you are not returning back, then you don't need to select the return. Then you just need to select, if it is 30, then we need to double click it there. Either that is one type of a solution there, where it will automatically pop it up, and then you will select this date and the other date. Or if it is only a single trip, one round trip, then you will double click here. So this is one solution. Or you can click on this one way first, and then select from Mumbai to Bangkok. Then you were able to see here there is no pop-up this time, because there is only one way of traveling it. Then you can select this one, and then you can select the return date as well. So these are the two different ways that I observed this selection of date should be, and that is up to you which way you will select and automate it basing on the requirements that you have. But today I'm going with the second way, where there is a one way, and then we are clicking on it, because if it is if it is one way or the two way, we doesn't care, because if we will check for the second trip, and then if it is not there, then we will leave it here. These are the two different ways that you can do. I said you the two ways. You can try the two ways that you want. For now we are going with one way, and let's start the automation with UiPath now. So let me open the website, open this one, right? First, what we need to do, we need to open the website. So we need to have an open browser here, and we need to copy the URL. Let's copy this, and let's put it here, and we need it to be in Chrome. Select the browser type as Chrome, right? And then give it a variable. Let's say Make My Trip browser. Then what we need to do, the data that we are getting is from Excel, so we need to read that data inside. First we need to read that data. So let's select the workbook path, the Excel path. Here it is, the Excel. I need to open it, and it is the sheet 1. I am reading the whole range. That is the reason why I am not mentioning any range. And we need to create an output variable, which is dt. So this is our data table, the data where it is containing all the data, all the required data. So we need to loop it for each data that we have in the data table. So we will use a for each row here, for each row in data table, which is dt. And then what we need to do, firstly, after logging in here, firstly we need to whenever you open make my trip, by default it is showing us the round trip, where you select the first date and the second date as well, the departure and the return date. You can see that. So we need to make sure it is clicking on the one way and then selecting all the required fields. So first we need to have a click which will click on the one way. So let me indicate this. So first we need to click on one way, which is here. So let's indicate that. Then let's change the selector. See here, the selector is parent id root and then tag. Let's check this with the AA name. If there is an AA name, then that is good to have AA name in the selector. Let's wait for the UI Explorer to load. Yes. Here let's check for a AA name. Here you can see the selector has the AA name one way. So validate it again and click on save. The selector is updating. The selector is updated now. Now it will click on the one way. And what you need to do after clicking on one way, after clicking on this one way, we need to enter from and to date, from and to. For that, what we will do, we will again have a click which will click on that from, and then select the city from there. So we will click on this one, the whole, and let's see the selector there. It is clicking on the label. There is no name like from Mumbai there, so we don't need to make any changes here. Let's click on OK. After clicking there, what is happening? So here there is a type into that is coming here. So we don't have the names similar, so we're going to use a different kind of an approach here, where after clicking on it we need to type into the from city. So we will indicate this one from, and what we are going to get is the current row of from. So we are having the value of from in the from column, so we're going to give that as an input. So it will type in Mumbai there. After typing Mumbai, what it need to do, let's see, either you can have these codes BOM, and then you can directly indicate at one thing here and then pass this BOM as a dynamic variable into that. Or after, if you see here, let's say let's do for MUNDRA, after you select that, the first value is your suggestions, what we are searching for. So let's do search it, type here and then go down and then click there. So that we can achieve with this one, type into, and then what we need to do, we need to go down. So we will use some send hotkeys here. We'll use send hotkey and then another send hotkey. Let's close this, and after entering the value, there will be a slight delay that it need to search the value and pick place it in the first, place it in the below the search. So we will give 3 seconds delay for that to pop up, and then we need to go down let's say where is down, here it is down, it will go one step down and then we need to enter it, so it will take that value as an input. So let's save this and execute till now what we have built, and let's verify whether this is working fine or not, and then we will go on with the development. So I started the execution. Let's see what it will do. And there are different ways of achieving this. I am showing it in one way. I already discussed the other ways how you can achieve this in the starting, so you can try those ways of doing it. So it started, it opened the browser. Now what it need to do, it need to one way, it is click there, then it need to click on, then it need to enter the village or the other city that we are traveling from. So it clicked on one way and then it is entering the value which is there in the Excel. So it typed Mumbai and it is waiting for 3 seconds and then it will entering it again. So it is going for the second one, the second row, Bangkok, and that's it. The execution is completed. So the first part, the from, is completed. Now let's see for 2. Right, so the first part is completed, the second part is same. Let's drag one click here and then I type in 2. So first let's indicate the 2, let's indicate the whole thing, and there is nothing to change because it is clicking on the whole label. Then we need to indicate this again and enter this in 2. We need to enter the value again into, what is the value we are getting from the current row, and 2 dot toString. Let's also give it a trim so that there will be no spaces when it is typing. So it is also typed there. After typing it, we need one down arrow and then we need to enter the value. So clicking here, let's also give it a delay of 3 seconds and we need to come down. Let's see where is down, here, and we need to enter this. So now we are able to enter the from and the 2 values here. These 2 are completed. Now it's up to the date part which we need to do. So let's go with the date and then we will execute it, the whole part, only at once and check whether it is working or not. Then after completing this, we need to indicate the dates which need to be selected. First we need to click on the departure. So let's indicate that. So here we need to click on this. Let's indicate the whole part and check the selector. Let's check the selector, whether which selector it is taking. It is taking the label only. Then there is no issue for us when it is taking label if there is no other value in there. After clicking on the label, it need to select the date. So first let's click on the label and let's select the date. Let's select, okay, now we selected 29. Then what we will do, we will edit the selector. So if you see here, there is an IDX which is 28, and let's say if we change it to 29, whether it will be validated or not. It is validated. Let's say which is editing. it is highlighting 30. If we go IDX with 33, what it is validating there, it is highlighting, but it is taking the 4th of August, right? So in this manner, we actually doesn't know which date the user is passing us or which IDX we need to select. So let's open the UI Explorer and explore the remaining parts of the selector and see which selector is most suitable for this automation, or for selecting the value which is coming in from the user or the input. Right, the selector panel is opening here. If you see here, there are any other values that we can use is probably this one, the area label, which is indicating the data that we can use or we can actually pass into that. So let's select this and validate this. So it is validated, which is Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. So it will select that date. Let's click on save. It is validated. If you highlight this one, you can see you are selecting this August 4th as the date. So that is pretty much clear that you need to pass the value, the input date value, in this format. So let's see how we can convert the input format into this format. So if I click on OK here, let's take to assign activity, and let's call it as start date. Let's call this as either a start date or a departure date. Let's call it as start date. And what we're going to do, the current value which is coming is from the data table. So first we need to convert that into a date time, and then we will convert that into the required format. So let me open the advanced editor here so that everyone can see. And what we're going to do first we are going to convert whatever the value that is coming from the data table into the date time. So convert this into a date time, and what we are converting the current row value of departure. So departure, and this is a string, so let's make it as a toString. So we are converting the current row departure as a convert to days time, so it will also include the time span which is there. And now what we're going to do, we're going to modify this into our needs. So let's convert this into a toString, and the format that we require is Wednesday. And then what we need, let's save this and open this again. The format that we require here is the day that we are doing it, and then the month, the date, and the year. So this is the format that we require. So let's first, it requires the day, so it should be 3 Ds, and then it required month, M, and then it require only the date, which is D, and then the year, 4 Ys. So this is the format that is used there. So let's click on OK here. This is the start date, so, and then this is the variable, and now we will pass this start date as into the selector. So let's copy the whole part here and then delete this. In there we will choose a variable which is start date that we are actually created just now, and then validate it. It won't validate, don't worry there, and click on OK. Let's run this and see whether it is selecting the start date or not. Let's close this and debug. So this is how you actually click the date part in the Make My Trip website, where we are converting the input date format into the required format and then using that to select those values in the Make My Trip. So there are different ways that you will get different inputs from the Excel, and that is how you change. The main point lies here in how you are changing the date that we are getting from the Excel into the required format. So that makes the whole sense here. uh, let's see how it will either it will select the value which we passed, or it will throw an error. So it need to select the departure 31st July for both of the times. Let's see how it goes. So the website is still loading. The website is loaded and it clicked on one way. Now it will select the from, and it will enter uh, Mumbai. I think Mumbai to Bangkok and then Bangkok to Mumbai. First you need to enter Mumbai and then it will wait for 3 seconds. Then we are coming down and then selecting the searched value, and then it is selecting from the two. It is Bangkok, and then it will wait for 3 seconds, do the same thing. And in the departure, now you can see that it is selected 31st July, and then it went for the second row which is in the Excel. So it selected the Bangkok and then it selected the Mumbai. Now in the reverse values, and in the departure it will select 31st again. So our uh, our workflow is working now, and let's also do the same for the second one. Let's click, and then there is another click, but for this time we need an assign activity. Let's modify the same part. Let's copy this one and paste it here. Let's name this as an end date. And for this time it is not the departure, I think it is return. So we will return this. And we need to select the return, and let's see the selector as well, either it is clicking on the label. So it is clicking on the label, so there is no issue there. Let's click on the value and then a function F2. It will wait for 3 seconds and select the date, the required date or any date. So we will modify the date in the selectors. So you need to click on selector, and then you can see the IDX here. Open it in the UI Explorer again and search for the AN name or the area label, in this case where we are getting the date format. So that will select the required date in Make My Trip website. Let's wait for this one to load. It is loaded. It is area label here, Sunday, August 1st, 2021, and tab index as well. Let's validate this. So it is validated, I guess. Yes, let's verify this. Okay, it is clicking on that. Let's save this. I think it is changed. Now let's change the selector here, backspace, and we need to select the end date here. Select the end date, validate it again. It won't validate. Let's save this and try executing this again. Let's close this and debug this. So this will be the whole selection that we discussed in the starting of the video, where we are selecting the departure from to departure date and then return date. So you can also try the different ways, and if you face any issues while trying those different ways, you can comment them in the comment section below. And if you find any other ways of doing this, you can also comment them below, so that will be useful for others. So it is loaded, it's still loading there. Let's wait till this loads, and then it will click on one way and it will select from, to, departure and return as well in this case. So now it clicked on one way, then it need to select from, to. So it clicked on from and then it entered Mumbai. And if you are using any specific names, or you can also implement the selectors here, or the different types of selectors where it is a reject selector or the different selector. Now it selected the departure time and then it clicked on return, and the return date is 5th August. Let's see whether it will click that return date or not. So it doesn't click there, so there is definitely an error which need to be solved. So let's see, there is definitely an error. It will pop up in some time. Right, okay, let's stop this and see what is the error. It is Thursday 1st July. Right, let's edit this selector. Instead of 0, let's give it as -1, because if you see the selector for the first one, it is -1. Let's click that and try this again. Now it will open the browser, and then the same thing which will happen every time. Let's see if it goes well this time, or if there is some error with the return date. Okay, now it's selected one way, so there is no return, that the pop-up won't appear. Or you can select the two values as well. Try using that and let me know in the comment section whether you did it in one way or it in a round trip. And there is another one which is multi-city, where you can add multiple cities. Let's see how many of you will achieve this. Now it is one way again, and the second row is actually, it is completing the second row, which is Bangkok, and then it will select the Mumbai. Do let me know in the comment section which way you did it. You did it with the round trip or it in the one way. So we are showing it in one way, and let's see how many of you do in this way or the other way. Eventually it will come up in the round trip here, right? First you select, and then if you select the return, it will eventually go to the round trip, but just for the pop-up we selected one way. So this is how you can also add a close tab which will close this browser as well. So I think this is a too long video, but I hope you get all the required information on how you can select the dynamic selectors, and how you need to pass the values to this particular date in Make My Trip website. And that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you have any other doubts, do mention them in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please consider subscribing for more videos, and do follow us in rplearners.com, where you get all the different tasks basing on the different automation topics. And that's it. Thanks for watching.